Recording live from the Northeast Georgia Business RadioX studio, this is Northeast Georgia Business Radio presented by Regions Bank. Start building your financial confidence at Regions Bank. Member FDIC and equal housing member. Welcome back, folks, to another exciting edition of Northeast Georgia Business Radio. I'm your host, Tom Sheldon, and we're coming to you live from the beautiful Empower College and Career Center of Jackson County. A big thank you to our associate sponsor, Bottom Line Tax Solutions. Are you paying too much in taxes? You probably are. Let's get back to the show. I've got a great guest. All my guests are great, we know. But with me today, it's been a while getting this guy in. He's super busy, giving 110% to the community. That's what he does. I have with me the area director of the Jackson Bank's Area Fellowship of Christian Athletes, the Mr. Ben Hildebrant. Ben, welcome to the Northeast studio.
Thanks for having me, Tom.
How are you, brother?
I'm doing good. I'm doing really well.
Man, you're always hustling.
I'm trying.
You're always hustling, and you're really good at it.
Been blessed to be a part of this ministry for a while, and so I get to be out in the community and help spread the word of what FCA is and what we're doing.
You know, I go around before someone comes in, and we've been working on this for months to finally get you here. I walk around, I ask people, hey, you know this person, you know this Ben person? And, man, I was trying to find anyone to say something bad about you. and I couldn't.
Yeah.
That speaks a lot about you, brother.
You didn't talk to my wife then, so.
No, I know your wife.
Yeah.
She's nice, too.
She's awesome.
What are y'all hiding?
Oh, I don't know, man. She's the absolute best person I've ever met, so.
But now I have to talk about it. We just had baby 4.
Baby number 4.
A few months ago.
Yep. He's 3 months old.
He's doing all right?
He's doing great.
Mama's doing okay?
Mama's awesome. Wow. Absolute rock star. Yep.
And you're a good person.
We'll see. Only by the grace of God.
Ben, quit now. Just quit now, man. Quit now. You got it. You got it all. Okay. Hey, we get to business eventually around here. We need to know important stuff first. You call it FCA.
Yeah.
Fellowship of Christian Athletes.
Yes, sir.
Give me some background. Give me some background on FCA.
Yeah, so FCA, the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, is actually an organization that turned 70 this year.
70?
Yep, started in 1954.
That's even older than me, man.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, not by a whole lot, but it is.
Don McClanahan in 1954 felt that athletes could do more with their faith, saw that people were promoting things like cigarettes and shaving cream, that kind of stuff, and had this vision of athletes promoting faith in Jesus Christ. And so that started in 1954, and here we are 70 years later. FCA is an international organization. We're in over 100 countries.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah, we have 3,000 missionaries throughout the world, over 3,000.
3,000?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Spreading the word.
Yes, sir.
I guess there's athletes in those many countries.
Yeah, absolutely.
You never think of stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, I mean, sport is universal.
True.
Right? Sport is universal.
And that brings a lot of people together.
It does. And you know, we believe that faith and sport can go hand in hand. We see a lot of growth, a lot of opportunity throughout the world to enter into spaces that a lot of people can't get into because of our connection with sport. We have missionaries in some pretty interesting places, some places that a lot of people can't get into.
I'm getting all kinds of visions and pictures in my head. Of course I am, right? I get this feeling that maybe some of these countries, sports all they got, maybe soccer, football, whatever they want to call it, maybe that's all they got. I know sometimes 40 years ago, the Dominican Republic, you played baseball if you wanted to get out of the Dominican.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that was it.
Yeah.
That's all you had.
Yeah.
I can imagine there's a lot of those situations across the world.
Sure. I have the opportunity to, I've met people from all over the world. I personally support the director of FCA in Indonesia.
Oh, wow.
He messages me once a month still. I've known him for, 5 years now. And, he shares about the ministry that they get to do. They have to be more strategic than we do because they can't really go into places leading with the Christian, leading with the gospel because it is a mostly Muslim country and they get to go into spaces because of sport and then get to bring the gospel into it. So it's very different than what we do here, but it's also still the same mission, which is really exciting.
Indonesia.
Yeah.
Soccer?
Yeah, a little bit. Believe it or not, they do a lot with even like badminton.
Okay.
I know that they've had some, I don't know if they made the Olympics, but I know they've had some influence with that. Soccer is obviously, that's the biggest
most
sport
of the world. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And just any space they can get into, They don't really do a whole lot in the schools because
That was going to be my next question.
yeah, internationally, sport and schools aren't as tied together as they are in the United States.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you mean they take education really serious?
Well, it's not just that they take education; it's that
I'm kidding.
they just have
That's a different podcast.
yeah. A lot of club sports, a lot of community sports.
Yeah.
It's not as tied to the schools as it is here.
Well, it could go both ways. You could also probably make the argument that education's not so great in other countries.
Yeah.
They don't have that structure.
Yeah.
And one thing about America, we have tremendous structure when it comes to education systems.
Yeah, absolutely.
Public, private, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Any age, any grade. Well, that's a lot to digest, man. That's a lot to digest.
Yeah, and that's just one example. Like I said, over 100 countries.
Wow, 3,000 missionaries.
Yes, sir.
How'd you get involved?
I've been on staff with FCA for 6 years. Before FCA, I was a teacher at Eagle Ranch. I don't know if you're familiar with Eagle Ranch.
Flower Branch, or
Yep.
headed toward Flower Ranch.
Yep. I taught science at that school for 4 years. Loved it, but felt like God was calling me to do something different. Long story short, the door to FCA opened. It was a very slow opening of a door.
Good things always slowly open.
Yeah. And December 2017, started to seek what God was calling me to do outside of teaching, and officially came on staff with FCA August of 2018 as the only staff person in Jackson County. I say that. I did have Nick Dalton, pastor of the Jefferson Church, was a very, very, very part-time, like working 5 hours a week just with the Jefferson community. And so Jackson County had never had a full-time staff person.
I was about to ask you, was there someone before you?
No, I was
just part-time.
Yeah, it was always done in conjunction with someone else, with Hall County,
Other counties.
Yeah, and so I was the first full-time staff person in Jackson County. You know, that process was interesting because with FCA we have to raise our own support. We're just like any other missionary, and so I had to take some pretty big steps of faith when it came to coming on staff.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, at that time we had 2 kids. Now we have 4.
You were barely halfway there.
But it was still, I was the primary provider for my family at that time. And so I had to essentially continue to turn down my contract at Eagle Ranch. I had to turn down contracts to potentially pursue jobs elsewhere. But I was convinced and committed that FCA was what God had called me to do. And here we are 6 years later, and I'm sure we'll talk about it more in a little bit, but we're in the process of bringing on our 6th staff person.
Congratulations.
Here, yeah. So, and 4 of us will be full-time, 2 of them part-time.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it's been really cool to see all that God's done in 6 years.
Because it would be very ignorant to think that there is you're a chapter? Are you a chapter?
Just an area.
An area of Jackson Bank?
Yeah.
But not every county has one, or every couple counties have one.
No,
How do we know how many there are in Georgia?
Georgia, we have over 300 staff just in Georgia. Georgia is one of our biggest.
How many areas, though?
I can't tell you. I don't know.
But we need more.
We need more, for sure.
Yeah.
And to be honest, the size footprint that we have in just Jackson and Banks, we cover Banks County High School and its community, Commerce, Jefferson, East Jackson, and Jackson. And so 5 high schools, and to have 6 staff people is actually pretty rare, and it's a pretty large staff for a relatively small footprint. But
but that's a lot of schools and
it
a
is.
small footprint. A lot of school systems.
Yes,
we hold an amazing record here in Jackson
without
County.
a doubt. Yeah,
we have 3 in record no one wants.
Yeah, and so our
and you work with banks.
Yes,
so you've got 4.
Yeah, trying to sync up 4 school system schedules with and
there's only 3 of you doing that. No.
Yeah,
that was sarcastic. Sorry.
Yeah, but we're blessed to have the staff that we have, and we have staff at every school cluster except Commerce.
I'm sorry. What is the vision? What is a day in a life? And wow, that's open-ended.
Yeah.
An area director.
Well, when I started, I was in a role that was much more on the field. I was much more on campus, which is what my team does. The team that I lead, they're on campus just about every day. So I have a staff person who's at Jackson County, staff person at Jefferson, part-time staff person at Banks, and we are hiring in the process of fundraising for a full-time staff person for East Jackson. And so my job right now is to do things like this: raise awareness.
Someone's got to do it, man.
Raise money, because ministry costs money, and I'm getting better and better at asking. It's an important aspect of what we do, and it's an opportunity for the community to invest in what we're doing, and to invest in ultimately the discipleship and the growth of the next generation.
Ben, we're going to take a real quick break. Folks, we're going to get in a community partner, and we will be right back. One of our great community partners is Leather and Lace Coffee and Company. They specialize in barrel-aged coffee beans. Actually, Leather and Lace artisan roasts all their coffees. Along with coffee roasting, they are a full-service corporate event and exceptional occasion catering company. Based in Brazelton, Georgia, Leather and Lace serves Atlanta Metro and Northeast Georgia area. Visit leatherlacecoffeecompany.com for all the details. And while you're at it, visit our new website, negabrx.com, to see all our great community partners. Ben, you still there? Big thank you to Leather and Lace for being our community partner. They also have a business expo coming up Friday, October 18th at the Brazelton Civic Center. Go to explorebrazelton.com for more information. It's going to be a big day. Check it out. What were we talking about, man?
Yeah.
FCA.
Yes, sir.
Now, I'm ignorant. Everybody knows that. It's not just a mentorship program. There is some mentoring, I imagine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's talk about some vision.
Yeah.
Let's get that in while we're at it.
Yeah.
Because I'm afraid there's some listeners that are like, what does he do? It sounds really good what he's doing, but what is it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's one of the biggest things that I want to be able to share is the scope of what we do. So the vision of FCA is to see the world transformed by Christ through the influence of coaches and athletes. That's the vision. And then the mission, which goes hand in hand with the vision, is to see every coach and every athlete enter a growing relationship with Jesus Christ and his church. And so a lot of what we're known for, a lot of what people, when they think of FCA, they think of a weekly or twice a month meeting before school with biscuits or donuts. And
nice.
And that is part of what we do. All of our campuses have that. We call it a multi-sport huddle, and those happen all over at every school that we have. We even actually have started having those at some of our local elementary schools as well. But that's just kind of the tip of the iceberg of what we do.
Sounds like a big iceberg.
It can be. Yeah, it can be. But a lot of what we do is relational, right? We want to meet people where they're at.
In this case, the schools.
Yeah, the schools on the field, on the court.
Right, all the above, yeah.
Yeah, meeting people where they're at, whether it be the coach. We view the coach as being the doorkeeper, and so we want to be able to minister to and through the coach. Initially, that's going to be our first point of contact. And
right.
A lot of that might look like just an email, a text message, hey, coach, how you doing? Can I come? And then it kind of goes from there.
Now, when you go to the sidelines, you go to the courts, you go to the fields, what is your aim? Just making the relationship with a coach, spreading it further?
Yeah, that's the initial open door,
okay.
Right?
Right?
We call that engaging.
Sure.
We want to engage our teams, we want to engage our coaches, engage our athletes with the gospel. But one of the biggest avenues that we have to, further and accomplish the mission and vision of FCA is through our student leaders and our coaches that are on campus that are bought into what we're doing, that are leading on their campus. And so we have this process, we call it Engage, Equip, and Empower, E3, a process that FCA has developed, and that it's just discipleship. It's where we are engaging with the gospel and equipping through prayer, equipping them through the word, and then empowering them to lead on their campus. Because if our mission is to reach every coach and every athlete, then in Jackson and Banks alone, there's over 1,000 varsity athletes.
Oh yeah.
For us to accomplish that mission, we have to use our leaders and volunteers to help accomplish that. So
there's four, almost 5 of you.
Yeah.
1,000 students.
It's impossible.
And this is all through the high schools.
High schools, middle schools as well.
You do go into the middle school.
Yep, we are involved in the middle schools. It looks a little bit different at every level.
Oh, I can imagine.
Right?
I imagine every school system.
For sure.
You only deal with 4 of them.
Yeah.
Hey.
It's different. You have to work around schedules. You have to work around not just daily schedules, but holiday schedules. And
of course,
all 4 school systems have different fall breaks and
they do that on
all
purpose.
that stuff. And it's
just to mess with everyone with the traffic.
Yeah, it's
they
interesting.
mess with us. I know they do.
So
you're trying to bring in another employee.
Yep.
Now you're raising support.
Yeah.
I don't want to put words in your mouth.
No,
is that what you said?
Yeah, that's what we call it. We call it support.
You're trying to raise support.
Funds.
That's resources.
Yeah, for sure.
How do you go about that?
Plan A is relationships.
Always.
One-to-one.
Anything you're doing, it should be.
Relationships. We want to be able to share the vision and mission of FCA. We want to be able to tell stories. of what God has done already and what we believe that God wants to do through the people that we have. Every single staff person, we're always in a season of fundraising, all of us. None of us are at a point where we can be like, all right, we're done. But in order to be able to bring someone on, they have to have their first year 100% fully funded. Like I said, we do that through relationships, one-on-one. We desire to have monthly giving just because that's a little bit of a more sustainable model.
Yeah, stability.
Yep. And so, especially with this person we're bringing on, Riley, she's not from here. She doesn't live here currently. She's at home. She lives in Dalton. She's going to be moving here when she's funded. And so for her to kind of build up a base of people that she's had relationships with for a long time, and then for us here to kind of pave the way for her, trying to get people connected so that she can get here. And then once she's here, she can continue to build those relationships.
Right.
And so we're not after just a transactional, hey, give us money so that we can do what we want to do. We want to bring, we call them partners. You call your business partners partners.
Community partners, yeah.
It's people that we lock arms with that have similar mindsets, similar goals, and want to see God move in our school system and our communities. And so it's not a transactional relationship. It's a relational relationship. But the reality is we need funds. We need support. We need people to lock arms with us.
Are you from here?
I'm from Hall County.
You're from Hall?
Yeah. So
the other side of 85.
Yep.
Okay.
I went to West Hall. Believe it or not, we only have one person on staff who's actually from this community. Chase Riley is our ambassador at Banks County. The rest of us are from all over Hall County, Gwinnett County, Dalton, like I said. And believe it or not, 65% of our donors are actually from outside of Jackson County.
Really?
Yeah.
That's surprising.
Mine is much more 50-50 because I've been here the longest.
Yeah.
It's still one of those things that as we're doing ministry, a relatively young, its current form with the staff that we have, we're still relatively young. And so we're taking steps. We don't want to lead first with, hey, give us money.
Right.
We serve and we're in our communities. And a lot of people just don't really know how we get to do what we do. A lot of people don't understand how we're funded and how big an organization we are.
Yeah, you're global.
Yeah.
Now, you've got a 5K coming up, don't you?
Yep, we do.
You do this every year?
This is our third year in a row doing it.
Third year.
Yes, sir.
So you're out there making people run.
Yeah.
It's that whole athlete thing.
Yeah.
I was an athlete 25 years ago.
Yeah.
Not really.
I don't run this thing. I don't run this 5K, so I'm not an athlete anymore either. It's something that we started 3 years ago.
Where's it at?
It'll be in Jefferson.
Okay.
We in the past we started at the Jefferson Church, and we're going to start it there too. We're just trying to right now determine if we're going to be starting at the new building or the old building. If you're familiar with Jefferson, they just got into their beautiful new facility, and so it'll be on that street. It's just the starting point.
Will it change the route at all?
No.
I was about to say, just choose the one that's more downhill.
Yep. The route will be the same.
That's where we're starting it.
Yep,
the one
absolutely.
that we're going to start uphill.
Yeah.
And then we can run down.
Yep.
It doesn't work that way, does it?
Yeah. No.
It's funny. I had someone in here the other day promoting their own 5K, and he said, it's mostly downhill. And I just looked down and said, no, it's not.
Yeah.
Well, don't tell them that,
Yeah. This 5K is something that we've put together to specifically raise funds to send coaches and athletes to camp, because that's one of the biggest things, one of the best ways we have to reach people is getting teams and coaches and families to camp. We had 150 campers this past summer. When I started my first year, we had one camper. And so we had 10 kids get saved at camp just this past year.
Congratulations.
We had about the same the year before. And it's just any time that we have the opportunity to remove any barriers for people getting to camp, we want to do that. And the biggest barrier is going to be finances. And so this is the primary way that we use throughout the year to raise money to help send coaches and athletes.
And that's during the summer, right?
The camp season, yes.
That's during
the most part, we do have a small camp during the winter called Winter Recharge, but for the most part, it is summer.
Oh, good.
It's throughout the world.
Okay.
But locally,
locally,
we'll have a camp at Reinhardt. We sent East Jackson football to football camp actually at Presbyterian College in South Carolina.
Oh yeah.
Commerce girls softball team, they go to a camp in Columbus every year, and so it really is all over the place. It's a pretty unique and exciting way to get people engaged with the gospel.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
That's cool. How's the everyday guy get involved? How do businesses get involved? I think I know the answer to that.
Yeah. Funding is big.
That's it.
Our website, jbafca.org, you can find a list of annual sponsorship packages that we have on there, anything from $10,000 a year to $1,000 a year. We'll go to sponsoring our 5K. It'll get you a table at our banquet, which will be in the spring. But it also goes to funding multiple parts of the ministry. We were able to, a couple weeks ago, have a student leader training where we had over 200 student leaders from all of our areas come.
Wow.
And we poured into them, and we discipled them, we fed them, and we equipped them, and we worshiped and prayed together. We were able to do all of that without charging them anything because of our annual sponsors. Businesses, we would love to have you join our team. Like I said, jbafca.org. We have annual sponsors. We do also have event sponsors specifically for our 5K and our banquet. Also, individually, we are also individually fundraising as well. Every staff person is required to raise his or her own funds. And so if you're interested in supporting a specific community, whether it be the Jackson County, Jefferson, Commerce, Banks, or East Jackson, I'd love to be able to connect you with that person.
Right.
So that you can maybe meet with them. They can share what their needs are and how you might be able to come alongside them and support them financially.
You're on social media?
We are, yes. I can't remember
It's on Facebook.
It's on Facebook. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're pretty active, especially when we get closer to our events. We're very well known in our community for our Fields of Faith event, which comes up in March, where we had over 1,000 kids come last year at Jefferson High School at their stadium. And so that you'll see a lot of our involvement get kind of ramped up around.
So we got to have you in after the first year. I just want to talk about that.
Absolutely.
I didn't even know about it, man.
It's my favorite
You're
event.
holding out on me.
Yeah, it's my favorite event we do. It's
Sounds
massive.
like it.
We locked arms with our local churches. We couldn't do anything we do throughout the year without our local churches. Our local churches are just they are the front line. They are the tips of the spear. They are our biggest supporters, our biggest resource for not just finances, but also for volunteers come from our churches, and we deeply love each of our local churches.
What is the best way to track you down? Website? Email?
Website, probably.
Okay.
Right now would be a good one. Email, bhildebrant@fca.org is my personal email. That's a good way to get in contact with me. Our website is just kind of undergone a little bit of a revamp, and it's pretty accessible.
Good deal.
Yes, sir.
Good deal. Well, brother, if we got it in, one last word.
Yeah.
There's something on his mind, folks. I can see it.
I want to share a story.
Please.
Can
That's
I
why
do
we're
that?
here. Oh, that's
Yeah.
why we're here. Change names, locations creatively.
Yeah.
Protect the innocent, the not so innocent.
Yes, I will tell a story. So I keep using this. I've used this word discipleship a few times, and essentially what that means is we're growing in our relationship with Christ, and we are walking alongside coaches and athletes in that, teaching them as best we can, but really it's a hand in hand. We're going through this together. And I just want to tell a story of how that's impacted a local coach and has continued to this has been a process that has had waves that have continued to ripple throughout the past couple of years. Kelsey Jones is our longest tenured staff person other than myself. She's just about to be 4 years on staff. She is specifically serves our Jackson County community, so Jackson, West Jackson Middle, Legacy Knoll Middle, that whole community. So she's been doing this for 4 years, and when she first started, one of her first areas of engagement was the Jackson County girls basketball. Coach Christy Thomas, who's not there anymore, they started. She tried to engage her, and timing just wasn't right. Kelsey came back the following school year, the following season. Timing wasn't right, but then 2022. Coach decided that it was time, and Kelsey and her walked in discipleship once a week. Kelsey would come during Coach's planning, and they would open the Word together, and they would read together, and Coach started to grow in her faith. She was a believer already, but decided that she needed to get involved with the local church and started going to church with Kelsey, and then Coach decided she needed to get baptized, and Kelsey had the opportunity to baptize Coach, and I guess that would have been 2023, but it didn't stop there. Coach invited and started to pour into her team, and we've seen Kelsey has gotten to baptize, I think, 3 or 4 basketball players who have been directly impacted by the coach. And then on top of that, Kelsey has been able to walk with these families and disciple families and baptize parents, and it's been a really cool process to see how the relationship between Kelsey and a coach has reverberated through an entire community. girls coming to know the Lord, and there's families are being changed because of this process that Kelsey has been able to walk into. And that's just one story that is continuing. I mean, it's continuing to have effects years and years later. And even though Coach isn't at that school anymore, she's still having an impact on that community. And it's exciting. It really is. It's a perfect picture of what we desire with FCA, of what it looks like to walk hand in hand with somebody, see them grow, and see them take that and impact their team and their community.
Well said, sir. That's cool.
Thank you.
You should have led with all that.
I know.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. Well, I know we got it all in now, man.
Yeah. I wanted to make sure, because and that's just one story, right?
Yeah.
We could be here for the rest of the day.
You need your own series.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, we can work it out.
That'd be
we'll
cool.
get a sponsor for that. That's all we need.
That'd be cool.
That would be very cool, actually.
Yeah.
Ben, thanks for coming in.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Well, we've been working on this. Finally, we got our schedules together.
Yep.
We work too much, man.
Yeah, well.
But you're making a big difference in the community, and thank you for that.
Yeah, well,
I mean that.
Yeah, I appreciate you.
I truly mean that.
Giving me the platform to share about what God is doing and what He's called me to, and my awesome team. Like I said, if it wasn't for them, I mean, when it was just me, I was just going all the time, even more than I am now. But because we have people strategically in place going deep on these campuses with these coaches and athletes, we're seeing lasting impact that I believe can and will change Jackson and Banks County from the inside out, really.
I hear you, man. They're going to play music. Ben, thanks, brother.
All right. Thank you.
You're always welcome here. You know that.
Sir, absolutely.
Folks, Ben Hildebrant, Jackson Banks Area Fellowship of Christian Athletes, jbafca.org. Check out the website. Get involved. Hey, I'm Tom Sheldon. We'll talk to you soon.
Savings goals keeping you up at night? Let a Regions banker help you build a Regions Greenprint plan, a free financial roadmap personalized for what matters to you. Start building your financial confidence. Visit regions.com to find a branch near you. Regions Bank, member FDIC.